Hey, it's Liam Killen, and today I'm going to show you a super easy way of playing chords and making music. We're going to stay away from dense chord structures, complicated chords. Not today. For anyone who's interested in this cute little keyboard that I'm using, it's Arturia's Microlab. I've actually done a demo and review of this keyboard and everything that it has to offer, so I'll link that up above and also in the description. We're also using Arturia's Analog Lab 4. I'll basically just be scrolling through different keyboards as we go along in the video. We're in the key of A minor, so A is the root note. And as I mentioned, we'll be using the third of each chord as well. We won't be getting into what kind of third we're using, either the major third or the minor third. We're just gonna simplify it and call it a third for now. A third above A is C. If we move down to G in the key of A minor, a third above that is B. Let's move down to E, and a third above that is G. And finally, we'll move up to F. A third above that is A. So here's that whole sequence all together. So this sounds all right. This is definitely a chord progression that you've heard before, if you've ever listened to Western music. It's very elementary sounding though, if you
sort of know what I mean.
Let's find a way to kind of spice this up. We'll move back to A. A third above that is C. And if we move this C up an octave, now it becomes a 10th. This is just a much more fuller sounding chord because it covers a much bigger frequency, and our ears like that. You might even say that it sounds a bit more cinematic. Let's compare the two. So third versus 10th. So you probably see where I'm going with this now. We could do the same thing with all of the other chords that we just played. I'm actually gonna head to Analog Lab 4 here and change up my sound. Ooh, maybe Selena? It's very 90s sounding. Okay, cool, we'll stick to that for now. Let's just play through this whole progression. Just with this progression alone, you're able to make a full track out of it. So that's just 2 notes per chord. It already sounds pretty full. In fact, the track at the end of the video, this is basically the exact chord progression that I used. Okay, so let's take this a step further and we're gonna throw in a new interval, and that is sixths. Once again, we're gonna simplify this a little bit. We're not gonna worry whether or not it's a major sixth or minor sixth. We're just gonna call it a sixth for now. A sixth sounds really similar to a 10th or a third because it's the same thing in inverse. For example, A to C is a third. If we bring that C down an octave, now it becomes a sixth. This definitely takes a little bit of practice to understand and get fluent with, but try to incorporate that into the original chord progression. In fact, let's work it in now. I'm gonna change my sound again. Let's just search for flute, just for fun. Strawberry flutes? How about just flute? Ooh. Okay, we're gonna stick with that. Let's go down an octave.
Love it.
So we're gonna keep the same chord progression, except for the last chord, I'm gonna play a sixth instead of a 10th. Follow along again, I'm gonna do the same thing, except for the last 2 chords, I'm gonna play sixths instead of thirds, or tenths. And that's it. That pretty much concludes using very simple intervals to make music. Definitely let me know if you're into this sort of format in the comments. I could definitely do more of these music theory type tutorials. I'd be happy to. If you're into any of the keyboard sounds that I used in this tutorial, they're all from Arturia's Analog Lab 4. And I'm also using Arturia's Microlab, which is the cutest little keyboard around. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're into this sort of content, you know what to do. I post a lot of stuff featuring electronic music gear, and I've included a link to my playlist page in the description. You can check out all the different instruments that I work with. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Outro music in 3, 2, 1.